Aleph, Mishnah Dalet. The Mishnah in Yomא continue as follows. Kol Shivas Hayomim, all 7 days, the 7 days prior to Yom HaKippurim, where the Kohen Gadol would have been residing in the Lishkas Palhedrin in the Beis HaMikdash, Lo hayu moinim mimenu machal mishter. They didn't hold back any type of food or drink for the Kohen Gadol. The concern, as we'll see soon, would be that if the Kohen Gadol ate certain types of food, or if he generally overate, that would possibly lead to him seeing a seminal emission, which would render him tomei. Now, during the 7 days prior to Yom Kippur, that is not the end of the world, because the next day he would go to the mikveh, and the following night he would become toho. But if this occurred on the night of Yom Kippur itself, and he'd go to the mikveh the next day, he would be tomei to do the avodah on Yom HaKippurim. So therefore, for the 7 days in the build-up to Yom HaKippurim, there was no problem. They didn't hold back any food or drink from him. However, Erev Yom HaKippurim, Im Chashecha, on Erev Yom Kippur, just before it got dark, i.e. for the Sudas HaMafsekes, for the meal immediately before Yom Kippur, they did not allow the Kohen Gadol to eat too much, because if he would eat too much, then overeating would induce sleep, and if he would sleep the night of Yom Kippur, then he might see a carry which would, as explained, that would invalidate him from performing the avodah on Yom Kippur. The Bartanura explains from the Gemara in Shabbos from the Gemara in Yomא Yudches Amud Aleph, that Afilu, says the Bartanura, min ha'macholim she'ein meviim l'dei chimum, that he couldn't overeat. That means any food. He shouldn't eat excessively. But they wouldn't allow him to eat any food. Any food which would likely cause some sort of seminal emission, some sort of carry, kagoin, and the Gemara gives examples of hot milk and beitzim and eggs, but the Bartanura lists more. Kagoin cholav beitzim, ubasa shomen, and fatty meat, v'yayin yashon, and old wine, and these sorts of food which may induce him seeing a carry, seeing a seminal emission. So in the 7 days prior to Yom Kippur there was no restrictions, but in the Sudas HaMafsekes, just immediately before Yom Kippur, they wouldn't allow him to overeat generally, and there were some foods which they didn't allow him to eat at all during this meal. The Art Scroll Mishnah brings the Yerushalmi, which we mentioned previously in the Masechta, that the Yerushalmi asks, but the Mishnah in Perek Avos, in Perek Hey, in Mishnah Hey, says that there were 10 nisim that occurred in the Beis HaMikdash, and one of them was that the Kohen Gadol never saw a keri on the night of Yom Kippur. So what was the concern? Why do we have to be worried about this? This was one of the 10 nisim in the Beis HaMikdash. So there are two answers. The first answer is Ein Soimchim Al Nes. You can't rely on miracles just because it's one of the 10 nisims. We don't rely on miracles. We have to do our hishtadlus to try and avoid this occurring. And number two, the second answer given is that these 10 miracles only applied for the duration of the first Beis HaMikdash, and up to and including the times of Shimon HaTzadik at the beginning of the second temple era, of the times of the second Bais. So after that, when the Kohanim Gedolim were less scrupulous, then these Asor Nisim didn't apply, and then there was a real concern. That is the end of Mishnah Dalet.